Greetings, everyone. Welcome to my sketchbook. I'm going to ramble on about something for a moment before I get started with the doodle of the day. Let me move this out of the way. You probably heard me talk about this before. I am Canadian. I'm immensely proud of that. Born in Canada, raised in Canada, grew up on the east coast of Canada. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I think are kind of funny. This is a bag of ketchup chips. Now, you can get these in other places, but they're commonly found here in Canada. Like Seth Rogen would have said, you know, if you eat French fries with ketchup, this is not really an outlandish thing. Something else that you can find commonly in Canada is this type of candy-coated chocolate, referred to as Smarties. These ones are made in a peanut-free facility. The colors that you find on the candy themselves, believe it or not, these are naturally sourced. Kind of interesting. Next, I'm going to show you some coins. This is a picture, or I should say a profile picture of Queen Elizabeth II. This is on a penny, a 1-cent coin, has a maple leaf on the tail end of it. Another coin here. This is a 5-cent piece, a nickel. This has a beaver on it. Queen here again on a dime, a 10-cent piece. This is a schooner on the tail side of it. That is the Blue Nose, by the way, which was the fastest ship of its kind during its time. Check this out, another coin. This is the Queen Elizabeth again. This is a caribou, and this is like a super reindeer, super deer, not as big as a moose, but still a monstrously large animal. That's on a quarter, 25-cent piece. This is a $1 coin. On the other side is a loon. Commonly here in Canada, these are referred to as loonies. Kind of funny, here again, here is a $2 coin. On this side, this is a this is a polar bear. Now, commonly, this, because it's twice the value of this is called a toonie. Kind of interesting. Just for fun, though, here's Queen Elizabeth's son, who is now the king. This is King Charles III on the face of the coin. You can get coins in other denominations, of course. Some of you may have seen this before. This is a $20 coin from the Royal Canadian Mint. Let me show you what that looks like. This has the Queen on it as well. That's actually designed by Galito del Cezio. Pretty cool thing. It'd be worth more than 20 bucks now, though. So that's not like a thing that you put out in regular circulation. I work a lot with my hands, so technically these are my favorite tools, but I'm going to show you some other tools that I think are kind of neat. For example, this wrench. Now, I do tool around with cars and other mechanical things. I use stuff like that. This is a magical instrument for removing lug nuts and things like that, but I also have electric drills and whatnot, but I have some old tools too, like this. What a cool device. I have this, which I on occasion actually do use because I think it's kind of fun. I like to kind of keep going with certain hand tools whenever I can, because I also do some like woodworking. I also do some wood carving. Here's an old hand plane. It's pretty cool. This has been around for a long time, long before me, probably long after me as well. Got to keep that thing sharp. What else do I have here? Just to show you some bits. These things are awesome. Probably somewhere around 30 years ago, I did an arborer's course. And this would be a helmet. This is meant to protect your eyes. So at the beginning of, well, every video, you see me put on glasses like this. Well, I do my best to protect my eyes. This also has hearing protection as well for operating chainsaws. Let me show you one of those machines. So not really a lot of room here on the desk to do that. This is a real deal workhorse. I mean, look at the bar on this thing and the chain. This is an awesome machine. Let me set that down again. All right. Well, why am I showing you this stuff? Well, I think it's kind of neat. Let's put this back and get my sketchbook. Okay, so yeah, why am I showing you this? Well, I enjoy the great outdoors. I enjoy working with my hands, and I don't spend lots and lots of time on social media, but when I do, every so often, it's kind of to, well, it's kind of a palate cleanse kind of thing. And somebody who lives on the west coast of Canada makes content on the internet that I watch just to, I don't know, kind of feel good about just watching something. And you can watch with, you know, family and friends. And so my spouse and I will watch. I'm just going to get started with a doodle here, actually. So let's see what we can come up with. Let's see if that'll lock down here. All right. Well, I think for fun, it's not going to be perfectly based on this person. So if you've ever watched people split wood, there's something kind of, I don't know, this fun maybe about watching someone split wood. And so I'll watch Nicole Coenen split wood. And I think that is an awesome thing. So if you can, watch people that enjoy what they do. It's actually pretty fun. I don't know, I find it kind of relaxing. So I'm going to try to do a version of this human being, but kind of more like a, I don't know, maybe like a mountain lioness or something like that. We'll see how this goes. Not that everybody's a cat person, but sometimes it's just kind of fun for cartoony effect. Canadians are zany, at least I think we are, and kind of built into some of what a lot of Canadians do is sort of this self-deprecating kind of humor, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's an immense kind of confidence too, because you get used to not having to do certain things for other people, but you do things for other people. I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. But I think it's built into a lot of Canadians to be helpful, to understand what it means to be a good person, sort of like you be kind to others because you hope that they'll be kind to people that you care about as well. So maybe that. Now this is just sort of off the top of my head. There's no pre-penciling involved in this. Let's see if that's gonna get that to focus again. Oh. So it's not going to look exactly like that person. And nor should it. Not here to replace any human being with a drawing. Let's move this down just a little bit. How many of you have seen Cats? I've talked about this a little bit before. I've seen the off-Broadway play. It's awesome. There's a lot of talented people that have been involved in it. The movie version of it, some people didn't really enjoy that so much. I think Andrew Lloyd Webber's music in general, for his stage productions, is amongst the absolute best in the world. So I think that is the best part even of the movie, which I will admit I've only seen the last part of. Now, a toque is good. Keep your head warm. When I do work outside, I do keep my head covered. But as a bonus, though, I don't always zip up my coat. And it's probably because I generate a reasonable, well, super reasonable, how about that? I generate a lot of heat, I suppose. So I let it escape from around my chest area, I guess. So long as my arms kind of feel warm and my head is covered, being outside in the wintertime is easy enough. Just dress for it. Now, I grew up on the east coast of Canada, and I've been in the woods, and I can tell you, the woods is a place where I feel at home. I spent a lot of time in the woods. I remember going up into the woods with my grandfather, uncles, and aunts, and all that kind of stuff. And we cut down some trees. I remember we even used Teddy a few times, which was this huge horse to drag out those logs to bring them back and block them up, and then split them into firewood and make a few cord. But we've also drug them out with snowmobiles. So that's kind of fun. Maybe that should have been a little lower. can fix that. What else can I ramble on about? Well, I think for the most part, you should be aware that there are different types of axes or different types of axe. And if you are out splitting wood, you want something that has more of a wedge shape, something that would divide the wood while you're chopping it. If you're bringing down a tree with an axe, you want that thing to be sort of like slim and sharp, if that makes sense. You'll hear people talk about head speed and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, you need a very specific axe to do very specific things. Some are kind of general purpose. If you watch Nicole work with an axe, most often you'll see one for splitting specifically. Let's make this one a little more obvious with that wedge, with flaring out just a little bit. Of all the tools I guess I brought out, I guess I could have shown you some of my axes too. I also have hatchets. If you've been on this channel before, you've seen me with different swords, I suppose, too. And again, I work with my hands a lot. Now, this type of a splitting axe, also good for a maul. And if you go into the woods and you're, well, even if you're back and you're splitting wood, it's always good to have a wedge with you. And you can use the back end of your splitter to drive that wedge in if you get something stuck or you just need extra help. So there's that. What else can we do with this? Let's see if we back this out just a little bit. Let's go to there. I'm not really going to like spend a lot of time finishing this. It's a doodle, so with our mountain lion here. Of course, I should say this, Nicole doesn't need me to do any promotion. This isn't really so much a promotion, just someone I have an appreciation for. Already has a lot of followers, hundreds of thousands. I would be one of them. So I just wanted to say, hey, you know, if you're looking for entertainment, learn something from somebody who's good at something, that is a good place to go that I recommend. Now, let me see. I'll dip the pen because I haven't in a little bit. and we'll say this. I can zoom in on that actually. I think my buddy Neville upstairs is coming downstairs to scream at me because it's been over 20 minutes. All right, Neville. I don't know if you hear him in the background. He's giving me a hard time. Look at that. I've actually did a little bit of smearing. Not the worst thing. And it's still blurry, huh? That happens with me. Okay. Up here, this is kind of funny. Cats are funny. I'll go back to the drawing here in just a moment. But let's go down here and we'll write this. I enjoy dip pens. To me, they are amongst the funnest instruments, although secretly, when you're out and about, and I've said this a lot as well, a Papermate medium point is pretty much the best all around pen. I do use a lot of Mont Blanc. I'm a big fan, but when you lose a Mont Blanc, you miss it. You might miss a, you might miss a Papermate medium point, but they are relatively inexpensive. This right here, this is a Pilot, and it is my workhorse or sketchbook, workhorse for my sketchbook. It's the one that I most often will use sitting down at my desk. So it's a good all-around kind of thing. Do a little bit more, but I'm not going to overwork this as far as doodly sketch type things go. A little bit of outlining. Amongst my favorite things in the world is to admit that I don't know everything, because I feel like I never really want to stop learning. Now, I make it a kind of a personal goal thing to do as much as I can from memory, even if it's recent memory. And there's a lot of reasons for that, I suppose. But one reason is, in my family, uh, dementia exists. And the concept of that kind of changes certain ways that I do things. So now, mind you, I'm in my early 50s. And I can remember years ago visiting my Aunt Mary with my father. Uh, and when we'd have these conversations, she would ask me questions as if I was my father. She didn't recognize the old man that was with me. So somehow, she was pretty sharp at one point, but somewhere back in the late 1950s, or maybe even like in the 60s, she recognized my father through me. That's a strange thing. Now, for the longest time, even before she had her diagnosis, uh, she would keep records. So she actually had like a photograph book with names in her own handwriting, just to say who people were, how she was connected to them. So she was well aware that this thing was there. So that's one of the strangest things to me about losing people. Now, mind you, both my parents are gone, as well as long ago my great aunt's. They called her Sister Mary, um, but she had started to lose the people that she loved before we lost her. And I suppose in a lot of ways that's one of those kind of scary things about losing people. So at the same time, I'm sort of thinking about someone that I've known since the late 80s who just a few days ago lost their spouse. And thinking about that, like those are kind of, well, they're uneasy. They're not easy. Um, it's a strange thing. I don't know if I need to go any further with this than that. I'll do a couple of things maybe, and then let me back this out just a little bit. I don't know if that looks enough like Nicole. I guess I'd have to review, see if that'll lock in. I'd have to review. All right. I try to do things, as I say, from memory whenever I can. And I'm just adding little tiny details in here, and then I will be done. Pupils are often one of the last things that I will add to an eye. In my doodles. I won't bother putting whiskers on, although I could. But I do think that probably looks enough. Let's go back to the axe here for a moment. I think that's it. I think that'll just stay in my sketchbook, kind of like that. Doesn't need to go any further than that. Yeah. So, folks, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out. Come back again if you wish, and we'll draw some other silly and awesome or wacky things just because it's fun to do. So, all right then. Ciao for now.